Welcome to channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Now in this video I would like to discuss the variety of the visitor visa, which is generally known as the tourism visa. Now there are several kinds, and the most particular use are the subclass 600 and 601, so 601 and 600. Now the differences between them is, now both of these subclasses can be lodged and applied offshore. Now the only difference between differentiate 601 and 600 is that 600 can allow you to reapply while you are in Australia, so while you're on shore in Australia, but 601 cannot. You can only do it while you're offshore in your home countries. Now people generally ask, why are there two, if 600 can cater all of them, why there is another 601? Now the answer here is that basically there are a lot of diplomatic relationship between Australia and multiple different countries. Now these different countries, and with the agreement with Australia as a nation for the tourist industry, there are differences between different countries. So, and that's the reason why there is a 601 visa there. Now 601 visa, let's jump in there first. Okay, now 601 visa, as you can see here, let's jump in there. Now you can see subclass 601, it's what I call electronic travel authority. Now it's very interestingly how they call that, because predominantly most of the visa are electronic now. Why is it still called an electronic travel visa? Now perhaps years back in the past, predominantly a lot of visa are done with paper. If you do remember, there are still some countries, USA still doing that. They, once you get the visa, you get the little stickers and stick on your passport. But for Australia, there's no more stickers, no more. So every visa is electronic now, and they still call this electronic travel visa. Anyway, let's have a look over the subclass 601. So subclass 601 does require that the passport or applicant hold the passport holders to be this list of countries. So coming from Andorra, Austria, Belgium, Brunei, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hong Kong, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Malta, Monaco, Norway, Portugal, Singapore, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Netherlands, and the UK, and the US and Vatican City. So if you're passport holders of these countries, obviously you'll be able to do an electronic travel authority. Now the 601 basically is an agreement between these countries, as you can see that list down there, between them and the Australian immigration, whereby the visa is pretty cheap, and most of them you may require to go to a travel agency of your country to actually apply for it, and it's very cheap. And some of them do open for DIY, so the DIY will be on this website. So let me move that over a bit. Now if you see those flags of countries in this website here, then you can do a DIY, and the cost of it is $20. Now I'm not too sure why they do differentiate between ETA passport holders to have these DIY mechanism, and some of them don't, because the cost from my memory is predominantly the same. So if you go to, say, if you're Japan, the Japanese passport holders, and you apply by yourself, is $20, and if you do go through a travel agency, it's about the same cost. And so I think the reason behind that is more towards the control of number of tourists. For instance, if you're a say UK passport holders. Obviously you're not on that list there, so then you will be required to go through a travel agency, so they're controlling the tourists to Australia. And another example will be let's say Taiwan. Now Taiwan will want to control their tourists, travelers to Australia as well, so you cannot go DIY yourself, you have to go to a travel agency. I think it's more of benefit to a travel agency's industry in those countries. So if you could do DIY and you buy your air ticket directly from a airline, like if you're a Japanese or Hong Kong or US citizens, then you bypass the travel agency. So I think it's more of protectionist for the travel agency industry for those list of countries, other than allowing a citizen to do a DIY there. Now, so that's ETA. Now, once you get the ETA 601 visa, you arrive in Australia. You can only allow to stay for 3 months. Now, if you want to extend over that, at the end of that 3 months, you cannot do another ETA again. You have to go to a 600 visa, which is the one that I'm going to show you right now. So 600 visa, as I said before, you can do onshore or offshore, but if you're already in Australia, arriving Australia, stay there in Australia, if you want to extend your visitor visa, then 600 visa is the only option. You cannot do another ETA. If you want to do an ETA, you have to fly out of the country. So the key here is that the test of the law engineer and plan this way is to, as a tourist, you should act like a tourist. You do not come to Australia to stay for long term. So it's all short term. They're promoting you to stay in short term as a tourist. They don't want you to be in long term, because if you be in long term, generally, unless you're family visitors, a lot of people will actually breach the visa condition by possibly going to get a job or work or some sort of stuff. So they are promoting people for a short-term traveler coming in and leave the country. But if you do require to extend, obviously the only visa will be the subclass 600. Now, the cost of these visas are different. Okay, so as you can see, an ETA visa, the cost is about 20 bucks. It's not much. But if you go to a 600 visa, let's have a look. If you go to a 600 visa, it will go from, if you do want to apply offshore, then let me just move that over there. Now, if you do want to apply offshore, it's 145. So wow, that's like 7 times more of the cost. So generally, if you're a country, a passport holder of those listed countries, you won't do a 600 visa while there. But if you're a passport holder of India or China, mainland China, then the only way is to go through 600 visa. You can't do an ETA visa. Now you can see down here, there's a frequent traveler stream. The cost of that is Australian dollars of $1,065. That's humongous for a traveler. Now, personally, I've never done one, and I've never recommended one to do that, because if you want to do that, you might as well apply this 7 or 8 times, and if you are ETA visa holders, you can do a lifetime. I don't know why Australian government will design this for frequent traveler. Even if you're a frequent traveler, you can do this 7 or 8 times. That's almost like covering 10 years. Why would you pay $1,000 to just show that you're a frequent traveler? I don't understand. Anyhow, personally, I never seen anyone done it. So, okay, the next question is that once you arrive in Australia and you want to extend your travel visa, your 600 visa, the cost will be different. So the cost here will be, once you applicants in Australia, okay, the cost will jump from $140 to $365. That's 2.5 times of the cost of the you apply offshore. So as you can see, the visa is engineered to promote short-term, not long-term. So if you want to stay longer, it's gonna cost more. Now, you see down here, right here, okay, down here, there's another 700 bucks. Now, what is that? Now, if you arrive in Australia with the ETA, you extend once you pay this. Now, if you want to extend second time while you're still in Australia, you will pay 365 plus that 700 bucks. That equivalent to a frequent traveler visa's costs. So again, it's a mechanism not just to attract more fees and more earning for the government, but as you can see from my point of view, it's to promote a traveler or a tourist to have a short-term visit in Australia rather than a long-term. So the costs here, basically, if you add it up, you might as well buy another ticket, fly back home, and then fly back again. So I do have clients in very very different situation where they're gonna do that. However, I do promote people, if you willing to pay that, you go and check out your air ticket. If the air ticket is about $1,200 to going back home, why not have a return ticket going back and come back again rather than paying another $700, unless there is circumstances that requires you to stay longer. Anyhow, that's for our video today. Should you have more question or query, more than happy to leave a comment right down below. And finally, I would like you to consider subscribe to our channel so that once we have more insight on visa stuff, you will be the first one to be known. I see you in the next video. Goodbye.